Welcome to Unspoken, community and business conversations powered by Touch Cleveland. Following last year's racial uprisings, we saw a plethora of Black stories resurface, and it brought to the forefront the importance of knowing our history or being bound to repeat it. Traditionally, Blacks kept history by gathering around their elders and listening to their stories, but today's generation seems to have lost that value. Rose's Living Legends sat down with Cleveland's prominent movers and shakers aged 70 and up to capture their wisdom, experiences, and more importantly, to give them their roses while they're here. In truth and in light, this is Unspoken. Today we have with us Alexandria Boone. Thank you so much for joining us, Alex.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Chardonnay. Thank you so much for inviting me.
So let's hop right into it.
Okay.
Yes, tell us who you are. How long have you been in Cleveland?
Oh my goodness. Well, I am just plain Alex, but most people know me by Alexandria Johnson Boone. And I am 74 years old, and I've been in Cleveland all of my life except for 3 years. For 3 years I lived in Chicago, but I moved back to Cleveland because my parents were getting older and I wanted to be here if they needed me, and as it turned out, they did. So I lost both of them like almost exactly the same day, 4 years apart, but the beauty was I was back in Cleveland. My house is only 3 blocks from their house, and I was able to move in with them and take care of them. So Cleveland means a lot to me. I left to go to Chicago so I could further my business career. That worked, and as soon as that was done, I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm going to go home to take care of mommy and daddy.
Awesome. So what would you say you are best known for, or what has been your most significant contribution?
Wow, that's a tough one. But if I had to narrow it down to just one, I would say my work with the Women of Color Foundation. I started the foundation 19 years ago. In fact, next year we're celebrating our 20th anniversary right here in Cleveland.
Congratulations.
And thank you so much. And I have an amazing rock star board of Black women, all Black women, because I felt like the board had to be representative of the women that we serve. We started out doing just African American women, but then I realized my circle of friends isn't just African American women. My circle of advisors or mentors isn't just African American women. So we branched out probably year 5 or 6 to start adding other women. We added Native American women, we added Asian women, we've added Latinas, and white women. I always tell people white's a color for me. And some of my best advice and my biggest supporters are white females who are dear friends. So it's women of color all the way. Now I do have an advertising and PR firm that I started 30 years ago with the hope of showing Black people positive images of ourselves. We're not just drug dealers, even though drug dealers are amazing entrepreneurs. They have an amazing distribution and marketing skill or template. So, but that's not how we should be doing things. That's not how we represent ourselves as role models to young people, no matter what their color is. But so Gap Communications Group is my communications company. We do public relations, marketing, branding, and I enjoy that because I've been able to help a lot of minority businesses. So that's really been rewarding as well.
Awesome. What would you define as one of the most significant moments in history that you've witnessed?
Wow. Barack Obama being elected president. And the beauty on top of him being elected president was I was able to fill out an absentee ballot for both my mom and my dad.
Wow.
So even though I lost them in their 90s, they were both alive, and I cast their absentee ballot for Barack Obama. And for me, it wasn't about Barack Obama being Black, even though that was amazingly historic. It was about the platform, his intellect, his authenticity. You know, I was a Republican for a number of years, and then I, woke up and decided to go back to being a Democrat. And that was because the Democratic message and profile was more important to me and more important to what I wanted to, more pertinent to what I wanted to do with my life politically. So I am now a Democrat, but I don't regret, George Voinovich, who used to be the mayor of Cleveland. He was the governor of the state of Ohio, and he was a U.S. senator. And he was one of my biggest supporters and a long-time Republican and a long-time friend. I miss him so much. I think about him so often because he really helped me shape my career in terms of you support people who support your ideals. It's not just about the political party.
Wow.
So,
Yes.
thank you,
Interesting. So I want to wrap back around to that because
Okay.
I feel like there's a question there. But before I go there, I'd like to know what's one of the most significant moments in history, specifically in Cleveland?
Okay. So in Cleveland, gosh, I can't believe I'm remembering this. In 1988, I received...
Hey, that's when I was born.
Oh my
I'm
God.
telling my
Okay,
age.
that makes me feel terrible. Thank you so much. In 1988, I was named the Minority Business of the Year.
Oh, wow.
And I got a proclamation, and they had a little ceremony, and I was like, oh my God. And it was so funny. Exactly 25 years later, in Houston, Texas, I was also recognized as a minority business owner.
Wow.
So I was like, oh my God, how my whole life has come full circle. Because,
Yeah.
I started my business in 1985, and in 3 years, but I was so
That's amazing.
humbled, but I was so happy and excited. So in Cleveland, 1988, that was the year.
Hey, that's a good year.
That's a very good year, as well as you being born, right?
Thank you for that, Alex.
That's okay.
Okay, so I want to wrap back around to your choice of moving from Republican to Democrat, because I feel like there has been an influx in the divide, especially in the Black community, as far as being Republican, being Democrat, and not just being something that has further divided us as far as being able to be organized and fighting for the things that we want. So, what do you say to the individuals who are now Democrat moving more to a Republican perspective?
So I don't understand Democrats who move to the Republican Party, because they do not have our vested interests anywhere on their radar. I changed from Democrat to Republican the first time I rolled over because I felt like the Democrats' platform didn't work for me, and they had a really long line, and they didn't have anything to get out. I was a little fish in a big pool of Democrats. When I went over with the support of George Voinovich and Virgil Brown. Virgil Brown was an African-American. He was a county commissioner, but he was also a business owner. He had an insurance agency. And I talked with both of them, and I realized that I could be a bigger fish in a bigger pool. That I was looking to build my business and advance my profile. That I'm in the communications business, and this was before Women of Color Foundation was founded. So I was like, what's best for me? Well, the Republicans didn't have a lot of people that looked like me, so I was always known, always remembered, always called by my first name. Didn't get preferential treatment for contracts because I never wanted that. I'm a person that likes to win it on my own. Have people had a problem with that? Yeah, but I'm okay with that because I have to do me, and I have to be authentic in whatever I do. And if somebody gives you something that you should have competed for, that's not a gift at all. That's just, to me, something that says they're doing things the wrong way and they're okay involving you in that. I had one of the things that one of my other mentors told me a long time ago: never let anybody use you to do something else or to embarrass or hurt someone else, because you have to be next, because now you know exactly who they are.
Wow. Wait, man. Ooh, she always has a line or two of wisdom. We need to just write a whole book, okay, called Boone Quotes or something. I don't know. Let's work on that, okay?
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Look, my whole notebook, she has some fire. I'm telling you. We're going to add a few quotes at the end of this.
Okay.
So is there something about life or society that you thought would be different by now? Or maybe is there something that's farther along than you imagined it would be?
Yeah, I thought that we would be way beyond this whole racial injustice pandemic. Why is everybody all excited now that they're dealing with it? We've been stuck in a racial and social injustice pandemic all of our lives.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia. For real. This is, I mean, everybody's like, ooh, 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 ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, finally. But we should have been, ooh, 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 now, finally, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and 40 years ago. I learned a long time ago, this squeaky wheel gets the oil. So I have always been one to stand up, to speak out. And I think, I am 5'8", so, sometimes, you can use your physical being to bring attention to yourself and to your message. One of the things, I don't like to yell a message to a person because they don't remember the message, they just remember that you were yelling. So you have to call out injustice when you see it. People will have more respect for you than if you just roll over.
Absolutely. So I'm almost curious to know how you felt about the Juneteenth being, named a holiday, or, and I know we can probably spend a lot of time on that.
Yeah, we don't have enough time. So Juneteenth is something that I've attended. I've attended Juneteenth celebrations in other cities, Akron, Cincinnati, but I'll tell you, 1865. And we're now in 2021, so why am I excited? I'm not sure I am. I think that Joe Biden is one of the most honorable people I've ever known, in terms of he tries to stick to what he says, and I think he felt that this was warranted. But it's like reparations. It's hard to heal wounds with, certain kinds of actions, or it's hard to make things like what's happened to us, it's hard to make it right.
Yeah.
I remember Lindsey Graham made a comment about, this sound, doing all these things sounds like reparations. Okay, I'm good with that. I never got my 40 acres and a mule. So what I did, I identified my space and what my goals were, and then I worked toward that because I was determined not to be turned down. My dad was almost 97 when he passed, and he broke my heart telling me stories about how he was treated in the South when he was growing up. One of the things he would say, now when we get down south, y'all gotta say yes sir and no sir. I was like, Daddy, I don't say that to you. Why would I say that to someone else? And I refused to say it. But I'm so glad I lived up north, because with the attitude and the mouth on me, I might not have made it very long in the South. So the most important thing my parents did for me was move me up north and teach me the importance of education and integrity. Wow. And the rest is on me. Wow. And Juneteenth is great to celebrate. Yes, my Women of Color Foundation was a sponsor of the Juneteenth celebration that was just this past weekend at Mall C. Did I have an absolute ball? Did I feel proud? Was the place full of people? Was the event wonderfully organized? No. My hat's off to Heather Holmes and her team, because they put this together in 30 days, Chardonnay. So yes, I will continue to celebrate. I will continue to sponsor, because it's a source of community pride. So what I think, I'm going to set aside my feelings personally, because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about we, it's about our community. So I'm a big girl, so I can stand up and say, okay, I'm going to support Juneteenth because it matters to other people and it honors our ancestors, period.
Yes. Awesome. So is there, you've had such an illustrious career, is there anything that you wish you would have done?
Well, years ago, probably 10 or 15 years ago, Milt Maltz, who is the founder of the Maltz Museum here in town, he was a mentor to me. And Milt put me on his board of directors for Channel 19, and we actually flew to West Palm Beach, Florida, because there was a TV station there that was bankrupt. So we went down because he put together a partnership between me and his daughter. And he was going to help us buy a TV station. And so the bankruptcy court, we bid, and the guy that owns the Home Shopping Network at that time, he bid more than Milk was prepared to bid, because we had decided, well, we'll go this high. I think he had decided maybe 13 million, but the guy Bill Paxson from Home Shopping Network decided to do 16 million. And we didn't feel that was an appropriate price for a station that was in bankruptcy and needed major work. But the point was that Mr. Maltz had enough confidence and faith in me and my skills and my heart and my authenticity to make me part of a potential deal like that. The thing that I regret most is that we didn't get the station, because that would have really allowed me to do what I do, and that is try to show all people, positive images of African Americans and women.
Wow.
But in the meantime, WOVU showed up, the radio station, and I had a show on the station for almost a year, and then unfortunately I had some serious health issues and wasn't able to continue to doing the recordings on a rigorous schedule. So now I just use my Women of Color platform to share any message to anybody that's interested. And it's about we as African American women really have to work twice as hard to be considered half as good. But that's okay with me, because I can do that. Okay, I can do that. And young women have to understand, it's not about being perfect. Amazing is the journey to perfect. So it's okay. Don't beat up on yourself. Even the Bible says no one is perfect. The point is, you can be amazing as you're moving toward perfect. And if you never get there, that's okay, as long as you continue to try and be honest and authentic and committed. Don't wait for somebody to walk up to you and hand you your dream or open this door. Stop moaning and groaning and do the work. Do it yourself. My thing is, well, the door closed and I didn't think. That's what doors do, Chardonnay. They open and close, okay? So when they're open, you walk through. When they're closed, you knock to get entry, period. But you got to do the work. You just can't. I mean, some people have had things handed to them on a silver platter. I wasn't one of those people. My father and mother had very, very strong work ethic. And, they taught us about education. They taught us about the importance of church and having spirituality in your life. And those are things you just never forget. They teach you about credit. I don't know if the parents back then, were teaching credit, but my mother was crazy on, you got to always have a job. And when you make your money, you're going to divide it 3 ways. You're going to spend a third, you're going to give me a third, and then you're going to save a third. Did I teach my daughter that? Yes.
Wow.
My daughter's 54 years old. And she learned the same things from me that my parents taught. Because we have to understand that, there's so many things that can be generational. It doesn't have to be alcoholism or drug addiction. It can be wealth building. It can be real estate. It can be credit. It's all about, we have a responsibility for these kids. People, you're always working with millennials. Yeah, because they're the future. Because if I'm waiting on a black man to pass the baton, black men die with the baton in their hand. Black women have learned that you expand the territory and enhance the community when you share. Pass the baton. 20 years, next year, Women of Color, I'm done. I'm done with helping build the legacy, and I have worked hard to build a board, my Rockstar board as I call them, but I've also developed a strong strategy to work with millennial women, because they're the future. And you guys are anxious, you're ready, you're entitled, but maybe not when you want it, but it's coming. And my thing is the energy that you guys exude and the work ethic that you have. So I'm just working with the young women to say, okay, you can get it. It doesn't have to be right now, but wait until you're totally prepared and ready. And when the stars align, you will know, and it will happen automatically.
Awesome. So I feel like you've already given us so much wisdom, and I feel like you've already answered the last question. But that was, if you could leave the world with any advice, what would be your message?
Well, let me say two things. One, the most important part of my life's journey is going to be what happens on the hyphen. Okay? You know, my tombstone needs to say she was a fierce champion for black people and women. But at the end of the day, it's not about every breath that you take. It's about the moments that take your breath away. And you have to make sure you have to make sure that your life has meaning, not just for you, but for those who care about you and respect you. You know, I'm going to jump to the vaccination thing. You know, so many of my family members didn't want to be vaccinated, and I said, okay, if you don't want to do it for you, do it for me. I have underlying health conditions. I'm over 70, so do it for me. And I've gotten through to some of them because, you know, we lost a really close family member. Well, not biologically, but he was a husband of one of our biological cousins, because his brother was asymptomatic and wasn't really taking COVID-19 seriously. So we buried him.
Wow.
So that is something I want people to understand. This thing is real. It killed 600,000 Americans. I didn't say African Americans. I didn't say white people. I said Americans. And Joe Biden has been a savior for us. For me, it's just like, where has he been? Where has he been? Well, I'm glad he's here now. And, you know, it's not like I'm a Joe Biden cheerleader. I'm a cheerleader for his policies, for his work ethic, for his transparency, and his humanity. You know, we are at a time now where God is forcing us back to our humanity by putting all these things on us. I mean, every day it's something. I was watching the news the other day, and they were like, well, how many days has it been since we haven't had a mass killing? And the reporter said, 0.
Wow.
We've had a mass killing every day for like 47 days. That is insane. But the leadership of America right now is the best leadership we've had in a few years. And I'm excited that America has a chance to heal itself and be reborn, because we're torn apart right now as a nation and as a people. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, Miss Alex, thank you so much again for taking the time today, inviting us in your home and letting us capture some of your wisdom and experience. This means so much to us, you know, just to, again, make sure that, you know, we're learning from people who have paved the way, you know, for us. And so, you know, we want to give you your roses while you are here.
Well, you can still
Kofi.
smell them. My mother used to say
Will you do
that.
me the honors? Oh, okay.
Yeah, biscuit.
And so
Oh,
literally,
my
we want
goodness.
to
Oh, my goodness. My mother used to, thank you. My mother
are
used
so
to
welcome.
always say, give me my roses while I can still smell them. Don't be standing up
Exactly.
over me. I love you, Mama. Mm-mm. Oh, my God. Thank you. And roses are my favorite. Thank you so much. This is
You are so welcome. And